This is a short bite episode of Homeschool Together. Boop, 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 boop. Breaking news. For those who are following the Haba First Orchard, we have found the plum.
Yes, if you're following us from the last short bite edition, we found the plum.
We found the plum. It was in the Uno Moo box.
Which is perfect.
Which is perfect segue. Hey, welcome to Homeschool Together podcast, short bite edition for the youngins, gaming for the youngins.
This is the second in our first games series. If you're looking to start your 2 and 3 year olds into games, this is right on point for you.
Perfect one. So Uno Moo. Tell me, Ariel, tell everyone your love affair with a small independent French film company. And then we will get into the game. Start with the segue.
So when I first saw this game, it's a little barn, and it opens and closes a little plastic barn, and inside there are little round colored figures that are skunks and cows and pigs and sheep and things.
They're all perfectly round.
And it reminded me of this awesome YouTube short, and I think that they were for some sort of film festival.
It was a film festival, like a French film festival.
I don't know. Anyway, this is called Rollin' Wild, and it's like, what would happen if animals were round and they were filled with air, like their balloons?
Yeah, it was like a helium, like antelope, and he's sprinting very.
And the cheetahs come.
And the cheetahs come in. They both have to turn, and they start rolling. It's very funny.
We'll link it in the show notes. There's many giggles ensue, but that's what this reminds me of. Rollin' Wild.
The funny thing is, we actually bought this barn before we knew it was a game.
Yeah.
Because it came. I was at I don't know. I think I was at Goodwill with the oldest when she was a lot younger, and they had this kind of nice barn, kind of clamshell opening top barn. And inside were a bunch of horses and animals. And I think we were getting hot and heavy into Spirit at that time.
Yeah. It was okay, these are a bunch of great, animals to play with.
Great little throwaway thing. It's a couple bucks. I'll pick it up, right? And on the outside, it was like Uno. I was like, oh, that just must be a sticker. No big deal. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. They were like, wait a minute. I think this is a game.
And I think you went back to Goodwill and you actually found this game with the orbs and the little animals in it. And the actual packaging of the game, we found out it was an actual game and it was an Uno game. So it is like a cute little barn that has this kind of clamshell open top and it has a little handle. And the old barn was like a carrying case for cars and little people and all this stuff.
Yeah. If you ever lose all the components to the game, the outside packaging is great.
It's still very useful.
So we have 2 now. So we're always like, which one's the game and which one's just filled with random farm animals?
And then inside are these round balls, almost the size of little golf balls, almost like ping pong balls.
Yeah, like kind of ping pong ball size with little flat bases on them.
Yeah.
And so they're in, I think, 5 different colors. And they've got little pictures on each of them of, a farmer, sheep, and cow, and those kind of things. And the barn actually has a little, on the kind of the loft level of the barn, is got a little opening door that can sit out, and you can put one of these characters on it. So at the beginning, you're going to each get I think it's 5 of these little characters. You draw them out, and you have a little cardboard, shield, so it can hide which animals you have in your pasture, I guess. So whichever animal is on the little barn door opening, the hayloft opening, you have to match either the color of that animal or the animal itself. And then when you do, you place yours and you push that one into the barn, and now yours is the one that sits on the door.
The classic Uno game dynamic, either the number or the color.
The number or the color. In this case, it's the color or the animal, and it's such a perfect way to introduce this concept. Our daughter at 3 absolutely loved this game. It says 3+. I think that's probably fairly accurate. I think you could definitely play this with like a 2.5-year-old that knows their colors, and there's only a couple of animals here, so pretty easy. When you get down to 1, you have to shout Uno Moo, so I think that's the part that my daughter's like always just waiting. And if you can't play either the same color or the same animal, then you draw one from the top of the barn, and that's how the game goes. It's super cute. What a great way to make a tactile version of Uno. Teach that kind of, color recognition and matching of the animals. So it's just a great first game.
Yeah, no, it is. And I agree with you. And again, it goes back to what we were saying a little bit before. It's great manipulatives. We've been playing with it, since she's been really young. She will climb up to get the Uno Moo game down because it has a nice baggie. We keep it in a bag of
Yeah, our 19-month-old walks around going, open,
open.
because the little balls are in, the characters are inside a bag in the barn, and so she's always wanting us to open it. The kids both like just to play with this game.
Yes.
I mean, not even just to play the game, they like to just play with the characters of the game because they're so colorful.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a delightful game. I don't mind playing it as an adult. And this is another game that I could easily see our 5-year-old, when she's 6, playing with our 2.5-year-old by themselves, which is going to be great.
Mm-hmm. Another great way to have kind of that educational experience of learning about your animals. And you can even bring in, make the sound of the animal. You can, you also have the color elements. You can, even if they're still struggling with their colors and maybe not ready for it, you can just pick the animal and say, hey, do you have a cow? And then you can change the character on your end. And then you can say, okay, get a pig or something of that nature. You can really start off very simple and then kind of work your way up to complexity. The other great thing is the game plays very fast. And we know that with the younger kids, their attention span is very tight. And so you don't have that much time to play a game, maybe a couple minutes, maybe 10 minutes at the most. And you can get one of these, Uno Moo, you can get a game through in, I think, about a minute or two. It's really short.
I mean, 5 minutes probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You play once or twice.
We play quickly with our 5-year-old, but I think with a 3-year-old, this is a 5 to 10 minute. You
play once or twice and it devolves into get the little people there. It's now farm time.
Yeah, but I think that's great, right? Because games that are card based, while they're awesome, are just really not preschool friendly in general, right?
Yes.
We've gotten our daughter several different versions of Go Fish and Old Maid and different games like that, and while they're great, cards they just don't hold up.
So, you'll notice one chewing on it and all that stuff. And kind of going back to the Haba, the pieces are so big and bulky. They're not choking hazards, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Ping pong ball, I think, could get in the mouth, but it's not going to go down.
Yeah. These are they're pretty big.
You can feel pretty safe if you have a chewer, which we did.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel dangerous at all with these pieces. So that's maybe another element to when you're looking for a young kid's game. Consider if you have a chewer or someone who puts things in their mouth a lot. Like ours is putting rocks in her mouth now. It's like, oh, it's so bad. But consider this is a very a child safe game, and of course they're designing these games to be safe, but if you have an excessive chewer or if you just turn your head, boom, the thing goes in the mouth. These are very safe games too.
There's not a lot of small pieces. It is high quality. They're plastic pieces, but they're really colorful, and
keep an eye out to go get a second barn so you can put all your toy animals in. Anyway, so Uno Moo, if you want to get them into that Uno dynamic of colors, numbers, objects, recognition, doing the either or type of mentality, kind of getting them ready to play that, their first Uno game, which we play a lot of Uno to do colors and numbers, just kind of like, driving home with our 5-year-old, the colors and numbers. This is that kind of maybe that first thing that you can incorporate into any type of learning, whatever curriculum you're starting to do. If you're starting to do maybe the Blossom and Root or one of the early learner ones, you can really incorporate this as one of those kind of go-to games when you're done reading a few books. You play a game or two. These are one of those games that you probably want to keep on your shelf.
Thanks so much for joining us today and making us a part of your homeschool journey. Please engage with us on social media. Join our Homeschool Together podcast group on Facebook and find us at Homeschool Together Podcast on Instagram. We'd love to hear your feedback, questions, and recommendations. Until next time,
happy homeschooling!